In this video, I'm going to be breaking ground on my new Speed Champions garage MOC that will house all 30 of the 8-stud wide, or Gen 2, Speed Champions cars. As you know, the Gen 2 Speed Champions cars are much larger than its predecessors. So in order to fit all of these into a relatively compact space, I'm going to need to utilize my brick-built display racks. That will also help me manage space constraints in my LEGO room and part usage. I'm going to try some different layouts on my 2 large base plates. In this layout, I have 6 towers stacked 5 cars tall. I would be able to achieve this diagonal positioning with use of jumper tiles, jumper plates. But it doesn't leave me a lot of room in the front to do custom work. I have a little bit more room to work with when I put them all in a line like this, but I'm going to try out some different layouts first before I decide on this one. I could arrange these racks to allow space in the middle for cars to drive through, and I think that would look pretty cool. But most of the time, I'm going to be displaying and viewing this setup from the front, and that drive-through would be hidden. All right, I've made my decision. This is what I'm going to go with. With this layout, all of the cars are visible. I have 6 towers and room for staging cars down below. So let's proceed with this. Though I like the Pick-a-Brick cups, I'm looking forward to the Pick-a-Brick boxes. It'll be so much easier to strategically place as many of these as you can in a cup, or these. So it makes sense fitting rectangular pieces into a rectangular box rather than this irregular shape. But these are the pieces I'm going to start off with on my garage build, which includes a grading element, structural pillar, corrugated panel, and then I'm going to use tiling. I chose white because I think that'll make most cars stand out, as most of them are dark in color. So I wanted some contrasting color. I think this will make the garage look clean. I'll also be using different colored tiles for striping on the otherwise white floor. Originally, I was planning on using these corrugated panels to enclose this whole garage, but that'd be way too many pieces, and I wouldn't be able to see my cars anymore. So what I've decided to do was use these grading elements as chain-linked fence, so that'll keep the intruders out, and I'll use the corrugated panels for some sliding doors. So I've left enough space between these pillars for cars to get in and out. That being said, I still do plan on having an overhead crane, a bridge crane, and capped with a roof. But that won't be in this video as I'm working from the ground up. And the more I work with this layout, the more I like it. Like, for example, I can remove this 6th tower and stack those cars up on the other towers if I want. If I want to create more room for my cars to be displayed in the front. And also it's still symmetrical, and say next year's cars that come out in 2024, I can just stack them up higher, make this garage a bit taller, and I think it'll still work. So I'm pretty happy with the height of my fence, but if I wanted to add more height, I could later on by taking more of these grading pieces and stacking it up and connecting them with tiles or plates. But I did run out of those pieces, so I don't have enough for the back quite yet. But I did add a door back here, so when you're not using your car to drive through the gates in the front, you can go through this door, which it's secured by these bars. I think the barred doors suits this industrial style build, and this will be the entry point for minifigures to access the interior of the garage. The next thing I'm going to do is remove all of my display racks so I can put tiles and jumpers to indicate where they go. I think this will be sufficient for now. I've got 2 jumpers holding each tower into place. Now I'll do the same with the other 5. I have the 6 resting spots for the towers all tiled up, and there's 2 reasons I left the middle part untiled. One reason is to save some tiles, because you can't see that anyway. It gets covered up by this black plate. The second reason is I'm gonna have this whole floor all tiled up, and if I want to change something up, maybe like the striping colors in the middle somewhere around here, or maybe add some jumper plates for posing minifigures, well, I can change things up easier coming from these starting points, using my brick separator from here, rather than starting all the way at the edge, tearing down my walls, just to access the tiles in the middle. Before I continue with any more white tiling, I'm going to add some striping. The yellow striping represents a minifigure walkway, while the medium azure striping represents what I call the drop box. So a car will come down off of the racks, be placed here, and ready to be driven. Most of the walkway is tiled up and complete. I even added some stickers to indicate that this is a walkway, right there and here. And also have the drop box staging area all tiled up. Set a couple cars on there, see how it looks. Great. Now, I ran out of tiles, so I'm going to have to postpone the rest of the tiling work for now. But I did add a layer of plates here connecting the pillars around most of my garage. But there's going to be a lot of black and yellow, and I don't want this to look too much like a Pittsburgh Steelers stadium. So I've decided to introduce some of these blue pillars as well. Well, shoot, now it looks like the home of the LA Rams. Well, you get the point. I'm adding more color to this build. I don't know, is that a good thing? I think so, because once I add all of the black display racks, it's going to look pretty monotone, so I need something to pop. Well, I'm running low on pieces for this garage build, so I'm going to be ending my Progress 1 update very soon. But first, I want to show you what it looks like with all of the cars in there the way it is right now. And I'll give you a sneak peek if you wait around at some of my other projects that I'm running out of parts on. Well, here's how it looks so far. I think it's shaping up nicely. I'm glad I got to finally break ground on this project. What I did realize when I was putting these display towers back in is it's a little bit difficult to get around the pillars, and these walls are only going to get taller, so I need to make these somewhat removable so I can access my cars and display racks more easily. I can slide cars out. Most of them are accessible the way it is, but the McLaren F1 LM is blocked in, so I'll still need to have some better access there. If you watched my Ninjago City expansion video, you'll know that I'm making improvements to the backside of all the modulars, like adding some extra docks and a bay for the Destiny's Bounty to reside. But I'm waiting on a lot of parts, so I'm kind of stuck there. I need a lot more of those 1x2 tiles. Here's another project that I started but ran into part limitations. The one on the left is the teal townhouse, the one from the Bookshop modular series, and I'm doing some recolors of it, and I want to do as many as I can, but started off small with 2. And then back behind that, I've got all of my first gen Speed Champions cars. I need to get parts for displaying them on my display racks as well. Here's a project that I did complete. Yay! It's my 3x hospital. Well, the helicopter's still under work. Up above my tables is the start of my city. This is the main street, which I call Cliffside Drive. But I'm waiting on some pieces before I get to showing it to you.